Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Hopefully having a great week. Scorching out there today, baby. It was, I know it's Wednesday, but tomorrow's will do the same way. Metro Detroit's hot. But everything's good, man. Been playing a little golf. Excited to play a little golf this week. And then, see where it goes. Got the big guys trip coming up beginning of August. So that is quickly approaching. It feels like it was going to be months ago. Months ago it felt like it was going to be forever. And now we're 2 weeks away, which is insane. So before we get into today's show, I want to let you know this episode brought to you by Titleist Vokey SM9 wedges. And, Vokey Design SM9 wedges are a product with superior handcrafted technology. Each one is an instrument of creative control, created from the most advanced materials, engineered to deliver the ideal flight and spin, with grinds designed to release your best wedge play possible. There are many ways to make a wedge, but only one way to make a Vokey. Titleist Vokey Design SM9 wedges, superior handcrafted technology. Find yours at Vokey.com. So, check out the Vokeys. I've been messing around. I think I talked about the new tee grind, a couple weeks ago. And, I've been still rocking some Vokey wedges lately in the bag. The bag's been changing a lot, though. Been throwing a lot of stuff in and out. It's just always a constant rotating door when it comes to clubs and me, which is pretty much how I like it. I'm gonna keep rocking, as many clubs as I can, try everything I can, and see where it goes. But I played last week. I didn't play over the weekend because I was at my in-laws' cottage, so hung out with the little girl, the fam, the wife, and just kind of relaxed a little bit. Hung out in the old St. Clair River. Did a little swimming. Did a little just hanging out. Went down, played a little bingo. At the old Russell Island Yacht Club. So it was a good weekend, kind of nice and relaxing. And then this week got my league. I think we're going back there, but I'll be back playing some golf on Sunday. Just a lot going on. And then, like I said, the first weekend in August. So what is that? The 4th, 5th, 6th, whatever that is, right around there. Guys trip. So we've got our annual Sragwa, our guys trip that goes on every year. This is my, I think, 4th year playing in it, which is pretty cool. We got, like I said, I think I talked about our draft probably 2 months ago. And there is a big email thread that we're all in. There's a lot of trash being talked right now amongst players because there is 2 teams, and we had 2 captains. They drafted teams. We do a little Ryder Cup style. So, we got two man best balls, 2-man alternate or a modified alternate shot, 2-man scramble. We play kind of a bunch of different ways, and then Sunday it's 18 holes single man. So it's gonna be a good time. We're going to Garland this year, and we play 5 rounds in 3 days. So it's 36, 36, 18, and then some of the crazy guys go up Thursday and play I think another 18. Thursday afternoon when they go up. So it's it's a wild weekend of golf, but it's fun. It's a great time. Like I said, the guys there, it's competitive, but it's not cutthroat stuff. You're still gonna be civil and all that. And there's just a lot of trash talking, a lot of fun. There may be a beverage or two had by a player or players, and it's a good time. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to that. This week, played in the league and played really well, actually. It was kind of surprising. Went out and just didn't do anything special. Shot an even 35, even par. 2 birdies, 2 bogeys, and just kind of chugged along. So I bogeyed both par 3s, missed the green, didn't hit good chips, didn't hit good wedge shots, and ended up 2-putting, making bogeys. And then, birdied a par 5, and birdied a par 4. Birdied 4. Bogeyed 5, then went par, bogey, birdie. So and then parred out. So it was a good day though. I felt pretty good hitting the ball. It was nice to made a few putts. Like I said, on 2, I was hitting driver because I was hitting the driver shaft just to test it, which I'm not talking about today. I'll talk about that probably next week, just when I get a few more holes with it. And so I had a new driver shaft in there, so I wanted to hit it. So I hit driver on 1, or no, did I hit driver on 1? I might have hit driver on 1, but I hit it on 2. I hit it on 4, or not 4. I hit it on like 6. But I forced myself to hit driver on a few holes when I usually don't. And on 2, it's a really short par 4, but and I won't call it wide open, and it's not crazy tight. But if you hit it, if you hit the old big hook like I do, you could put it out in the road, OB, and if you slice it right, you don't have a ton of room. There's some trees over there that can knock the ball down, and then you're punching out, or you go OB into an apartment complex. So I hit a great drive that just kind of faded a little bit right, and I was basically pin high, because the hole's only like 300 yards. I was pin high on the right, just in the rough, and hit a kind of crappy little wedge shot. I mean, I was kind of up against the fence, and I was kind of worried about hitting the fence with my club, and just didn't hit a real solid wedge shot, and had, what did I have? Like, I probably had 10 feet for par, and made the putt, and I was kind of like, oh man, like that's a good sign. Made par there, and moved on, and then just hit some good shots, putted pretty well, and went around and shot 35. So I was pretty happy with that. We'll see what carries over. I mean, I'm probably gonna play like crap tonight, or today, and then probably play like crap on Sunday, because it's just the way it's gonna go. Coming up this Sunday, we've got what is it? We've got Rocket Mortgage coming up on this week. I think so. I've been talking to people all what do you call it? Kind of all week of who's going to be in town, who's not, and all that. And I feel like, the Rocket Mortgage is next, so the 28th to the 31st. So I'm playing Sunday, and then Rocket Mortgage in town. Hopefully see some people. I think there's going to be a bunch of people in town that I haven't seen in a while. Tursky's going to be in town. So our podcast might be 2 guys sitting, I don't know, we might sit here down in this studio. We might be at the office. Who knows? We'll figure something out. But Tursky will be in town, so we'll have that. And it'll just be an exciting week, but it's going to be busy. It's going to be real busy with people in and out, hanging out, getting dinner with people, all that. It'll be fun, but that week's going to go by fast. So, excuse me. But other than that, been playing decent. Like I said, played decent golf, and then just waiting to play again. So I was putting the bag together for tonight. I don't know exactly what's going in. I've got the new. I'm going to put the new PXG triple forge wedges in the bag to play those. And then I'm also going to, like I said, I've got this driver shaft that I'm probably going to hit again. I might put it in a different head just to kind of rotate. I hit it in the Rogue ST Max LS head, and I hit it really well. I might put it in a different head just to kind of see how it goes in a different head. And then, I brought my Gen 5 T irons home, my PXG. So I might do like a full like kind of PXG iron and wedge setup. And then I got a new putter as well. So the putter you'll probably see on my IG stories, but I'll talk about that probably next week as well. We'll probably go driver shaft and putter, but I've got a new putter, just came in. Pretty excited about that. So just a lot of cool stuff going on. So just a lot of stuff on the table to review, a lot of stuff going on. I'm excited for that. I want to thank everybody who asked questions on yesterday's Q&A. If you don't know, at Club Junkie Pod on Instagram, I usually do a Q&A session, just talk about gear, equipment. A lot of people ask, comparing 2 shafts, or what's how do you feel about this iron versus that iron, or whatever. But whatever you think, anything that's kind of golf related or close to golf related, we chat about it on there, and it's a lot of fun. So had a lot of fun with Eric, got a lot of good questions, and had to kind of cut it off. I wouldn't say early, but put my daughter to bed, and then came down here to start recording. And it was a great time. So anybody who asks questions or follows me on IG or whatever, thank you very much. And then recording this here, and then if you want to watch this on YouTube, which I don't know, I guess you could. I do kind of put the clubs and stuff in front of me. You can definitely do that if you just Google or YouTube and search for Golf WRX Radio, and that's our channel on there for all our podcasts. So if you could, like, subscribe, whatever, to those videos, that'd be awesome. If you do use that platform. If not, I totally get it. You're watching a chubby bearded guy sit behind a desk and talk about clubs, so I get it. It's understandable. but like I said, we do have that stuff there, and if you utilize it, great. So the first thing we'll get into today, I know there's a ton of talk about kind of direct-to-consumer stuff, whether it's equipment. I had a few questions yesterday on, like Sub 70 and some other brands, and about their clubs, and if they're any good or whatever. And the direct-to-consumer stuff is really kind of exploding. I mean, the companies there are selling a ton of product. They've got, really good products that are at, a little cheaper prices. But the products just keep improving as these guys keep getting years and years and years of designing and designing these clubs and manufacturing these clubs and getting them built. And these things are just, really gaining in quality and technology and all that. So a lot of really great direct-to-consumer stuff out there, and direct-to-consumer golf balls have been around a long time, and there's a lot of brands out there that people have been playing for a long time. They've been using. They're very popular. There's a lot of balls out there that people have found a ton of success with, super high quality, and there's a lot of people always ask, and because a lot of people are always looking for what is looking for a tour type ball at a good price, and direct to consumer typically allows you to do that if you're willing to buy kind of their prices are usually cheaper, but if you buy them in quantity, say 4, 5, 6, whatever the breakdown is, they tend to be a really inexpensive price. So the one I've been talking about today is one today that I'd heard of recently, or somewhat recently, but I hadn't really looked into very much. But it's called Mynt, and Mynt Golf is basically based out of Germany, and they do direct-to-consumer golf balls. They do some accessories, hats, umbrellas, T-shirts, all sorts of stuff that you would want to go golf. But golf balls are kind of their main thing, and they make 3 different kinds. So they've got a talent. They have one called the Mynt Talent Soft, which is kind of their lowest compression golf ball. I think it's a 3-piece ball. I think all their balls are 3-piece. It's a 2-piece. So 2-piece ball for the Mynt Talent Soft, but it's really low compression. And then you get into the Ambition Tour, which is a 3-piece ball, but with a Surlyn cover, so really budget friendly. And then you get into the Wizard Pro, which is the one I have here, that is kind of their cast urethane cover tour ball. 3-piece design, built with a lot of greenside control. But the Talent is going to be about 50 compression, and then the Ambition Tour will be kind of in between. It'll be about 80 to 90, and then the Wizard Pro is 85, so kind of right in between. So those two are about the same. Biggest difference between this, the Ambition Tour and the Wizard Pro is urethane cover, and urethane is just a superior product when it comes to covers. If you're looking for tour balls, every single tour ball out there is made from urethane. The covers are, and they just offer the best. It's the best material for creating spin, and with wedges and short game and all that. So every tour ball you look at, no matter who manufactures it, their top end ball is going to have a urethane cover. So the Surlyn products definitely perform really well. They're just not quite up to the urethane products, but urethane also is a more expensive product. Like I've talked to a bunch of different manufacturers, and when you talk to their ball engineers and you talk about urethane and all that, it's a much more expensive material than Surlyn, and that's part of the reason why these balls cost more. They typically have more layers. They typically are on the cutting edge of technology, and then that technology kind of, may trickle down to some of the other ball lines, later on as they come out and things like that. So, but yeah, this one here, 3-piece ball. Only comes in white right now. It looks like all their balls pretty much come in white. They don't have a ton of colors, and these things, break down. They can basically be $39.90 a dozen, or if you buy 5, they break down to like $30.70. So, or $30.75. Sorry. So if you're willing to buy 5, and I think they throw in a 6th one for free if you buy 5, it basically breaks the dozen cost down to $30.75, which for a high level urethane golf ball is pretty darn cheap. And overall, the packaging is kind of cool. It comes in a really simple, kind of minimalist design. The box is just kind of navy blue. On the back, it's got a little paisley kind of motif to it with a one of those like QR codes on the back that could take you to the social pages, and then a little breakdown of the ball where it'll tell you it's a 3-piece urethane golf ball, tour golf ball, 350 dimples, 85 compression, and basically built for maximum control and consistency and high spin around the greens, along with some good durability. And when they put handicap on there, they kind of say tour players. So this is basically made for anybody looking for a ball that has kind of those tour characteristics. I will say the one thing that I think the direct-to-consumer guys, which I know this is a golf ball, but it's also a piece of marketing for when you lose one, or there's a picture of it or whatever. The logo has to be on there so people know what it is. And the Mynt logo, and if you're listening, it's M-Y-N-T. If you're going to spell Mynt, M-Y-N-T. But the logo on there is substantial, and it's the one thing that I think, for me, I'll give a small knock. The logos are big. It's not a huge deal. It really isn't. But the logos are definitely big when you can compare them to some of the others. Now, Callaway's getting pretty big as well with some of their logos and all that. But other than that, it's pretty minimal. It's just, their little Mynt logo, the word Mynt, and then the number on the ball, which this one here is a 3. And then other than that, it's got that on 2 sides. And then you've got a little alignment line that says Wizard Pro on it to tell you the model of the ball. But it's a pretty simple but effective alignment aid that also doubles as the ball. The ball brand or the ball model set there. So overall, a pretty simple design when you look at golf balls and say it's white, it's glossy, and it's got some dimples on it. And from that part of it, it pretty much fits the bill as a golf ball. But when you get on the course, the first thing I did, I got on the course, took it on the practice green, putted around with it, and it definitely has a good feel to it. It's definitely a softer ball. I feel like the urethane on this one is it offers just a hair more click. If you're using an insert putter, you're not even going to notice it. If you're using like a milled putter that's not really deep milled, you might notice a little bit if you're looking for it. It does have just a slightly louder audible click than, say, a TP5 or a Pro V1, just to kind of compare what I've been playing a lot of this year. It does kind of have just a hair firmer feel than that. I wouldn't say it's not Pro V1X firm, it's not TP5X firm, or any of those, but it is just a hair firmer than, say, TP5 or TP or Pro V1, which some people may like or may not like. There's some people who really like just a little bit of audible sound at impact, especially with putting, just to give them a little more responsiveness, know if you hit it kind of center, dead center, not where you missed it on the face. This ball here, like I said, has just a slightly louder audible sound to it with the putter, and then the real short wedge shots. Those are the 2 places I noticed it. Once you get beyond that and you start hitting, 40, 50 plus yard shots, you're not going to notice it. It there becomes, a pretty traditional tour ball, and it's pretty soft. But like I said, those just little things there, they're, like I said, just to compare, and I'm not calling that a bad thing, because some people like, for some people, having a ball that doesn't make any noise and just kind of comes off the face, they don't like that. They don't feel they're getting that feedback that they want. So this one here, just to kind of give a reference to me, to my ear, I think it has just a hair more click than those 2 balls. And like I said, those are just 2 that I've been playing a lot this year. But on the putting green, the ball rolled really true. I kind of took it out. I used my Bettinardi with it, which is the one that, right away you would notice a little bit more sound because it's got a really shallow milling to it. And then also had it out there with my PXG Bat Attack, which it doesn't have an insert, but it does have that kind of diamond milled face, which does soften things up a little bit more than the Bettinardi. And there it's much harder to tell. That's just a softer sounding and feeling putter. So if you put this against, say, a Pro V1 or something like that, it's going to be much harder to tell the difference between those 2 with, that kind of milling. If you put it with like a TaylorMade Spider or an Odyssey with an insert, something like that, it's going to be much. Or if you just have a deeper milled, like a Cleveland Huntington Beach Soft or something like that, which is a deeper milled, non-insert putter, you're really going to have a hard time distinguishing, that slightly louder click on there. So, but on the putting green, putted really well. Like I said, that was the only thing I noticed. I mean, the in terms of consistently putting, it putted really well. It didn't hop, skip, anything like that different than any other, tour ball. Like I said, again, comparing it to kind of Pro V1 and TP5. Putting with it was, it rolled true, put a good roll in the ball, between the Bettinardi and the PXG putter. Both of them, the thing got rolling pretty quickly. Like I said, very minimal skidding, no hopping. It just kind of, started going and, had that kind of initial kind of skid and rolled. But it was, really minimal. Like I said, very comparable to the tour balls that I typically play. Between short putts, long putts. The alignment aid is nice. It's perfect that it's just a small black line. And the nice thing is if you want something longer or whatever, it's pretty easy to trace over it and put your own line on it or something like that. but for the most part, I don't typically use a line. Maybe on, that 5 foot per par straight putt that you need to make, I'll use a line there. And for that, it works really well. Like I said, on the practice green, I set it up with a line a couple times to see. It's a pretty good line there to use. So that's pretty simple. The nice thing is too with that line, when the ball's laying in the rough, anything like that, it's pretty minimal that you're distracted by anything there. I know some guys kind of, look at triple track as being too much, and when it's laying in the rough and they're seeing blue, red lines everywhere, they don't really love it. This thing's sitting on the fairway or rough or whatever with just that simple line up there, really not distracting whatsoever. So, like I said, short game area, it worked really well. Then, hitting some wedge shots around the practice green and stuff like that. The ball's, it's really consistent. It's really predictable. The first shot's out, you hit. It's got some decent check to it. When you're hitting shots, especially off kind of like a fairway type lie, the putting or the short game area over at, I'll call it a short game area. It's a putting green with like one little spot to like chip, but nobody monitors. You can kind of play wedges from all over around the green. So one area though is mowed kind of as a fairway. It's a little farther down. It's probably like 15 yards of fairway where you can kind of chip the ball. So anything off there, if you're chipping it, I think the first day I had my mill grind, or the first day I had Vokies, second day I had mill grind threes. Both wedges though, when you hit those and you hit them correctly and you pinch the ball, create some spin, you're going to get really predictable shots, really predictable release. You hit that there, it's going to kind of hit that once, slow down, release a few feet, and that's it. And down there, like I said, does it check up as hard as other tour balls? Pretty darn close. I would say that kind of hitting it there and hitting some Pro V1 and stuff like that. If it releases maybe another foot or something like that, I would say that would be about as much as it really does. It checks up really quick. When you go down to that short game area, if you're coming from the parking lot, it's on the far left, but you throw some balls down there and it's kind of a little uphill chip to the first cup, and usually they cut it, probably 15 feet onto the green, and getting balls to land just in between there and trying to stop right near the cup. Like I said, this one here, if it rolled, maybe another foot past, that would be about it. I never hit one that I said, oh my God, it like absolutely just, stopped dead on a dime. Everything had that really kind of predictable release where it just kind of hit, bounced forward, released a couple feet, and that was it. And if you hit that solid shot where you hit it on the grooves, hit it close to the center, you were going to get that same shot. And again, once you got back to, 20, 30, 40 yards, you didn't really hear that audible click. It wasn't really anything different than tour ball. It is pretty solid there in terms of feel and sound. Out of the rough, again, performed really well. It really consistent. Nothing out of the rough, especially the rough over there, which they kind of let grow a little bit. You're never going to get anything to kind of stop really hard. You're just basically hitting shot, trying to land it in a spot and letting it release out. And with this ball, again, it was really predictable. Once you hit a couple shots, you would hit the same shots, and it would do the exact same thing. You would, or if you hit a little high in the face, you knew you weren't going to get quite as much spin out of it. It would release a little more, like I said, as you'd expect it to. But out of the rough, out of those tighter fairway lies over there with, like I said, two different sets of wedges, it really did perform really well, really consistent, and it does have some bite to it. It's it's going to play very, very similar to, most tour balls that you're playing right now in terms of that amount of check and that amount of spin you're going to get. And then when you move to the course and play, because that's about as long a shot you can hit is probably about, if there's nobody out there on the green, you can launch it, because it is a really long green. It's probably like 50, 60 yards wide or long if you're looking at it from the chipping area. If there's nobody there, you can kind of hit shots from there, from the fairway all the way to the other side of the green. But when I go out there, there's always people. So at least during league, I've been out there in the fall and stuff like that where there's nobody out there, and I've hit those shots, but not able to do it out there anytime recently. But taking to the course, with the long game, it goes a good ways. I was actually messing around with Arcos out there as well, and that ball there, like I said, on 2, when I was pin high, Arcos basically said I hit the ball 296 off the tee there, which is, like I said, Rogue ST Max LS with a kind of brand new shaft that I'll talk about next week. And hit it, really long there. All my distances all day, I was playing P770s. Distance-wise, it was exactly what I expected. With irons, if you had a shot that was, say 160, 163, and you were hitting 7-iron, I mean, the ball, if you hit it well, it was going 163, I mean, or 160, or whatever the number was. Really consistent with the ball flight in terms of distances. It wasn't crazy long, wasn't crazy short. It was exactly what I expected in terms of playing my shots. Didn't have to adjust anything. Ball flight, I would say, was actually a smidge lower than I thought. I thought it was going to be, I mean, I've played a decent amount of direct-to-consumer balls, and a lot of them fly a little higher than I expect. In terms of launch, they all seem to go a little higher, especially when you start comparing them to, say, the Pro V1s and some of the TP5s and some of the ones that, that fly a little lower, the tour balls that do. This one actually had a little lower trajectory. I mean, you can still hit it high, and it was fine, but it did come out a little lower than I expected. And I would say it probably came out just a little bit lower than, for me, TP5, I always launch it a little higher than it's supposed to be, kind of the flatter launching one. I always launch that one a little higher. This thing came out just a little bit lower than TP5, and probably right in between TP5 and Pro V1X, or Pro V1 for me, in terms of launch. I mean, I would call it a genuine mid, and it stopped on the green really well. So even though it wasn't maybe just a little bit flatter trajectory, it would hit the green and stop pretty much right away. I mean, up until the longest iron hit, I think we did have one of the par threes was like 181. They moved the tees back on 4 or 5 to the back tee box, and I think it was playing like 180. And it was a little downwind though, so I hit a 7-iron, and when I usually would have hit 6 and stopped and just missed the green. But I mean, where on ball mark was, it hit the fringe, bounced off, and I mean, I was on the rough by like 4 inches. So. Yeah, I mean, it seems to stop. Everything I hit in, every wedge I hit into greens was pretty much checking up right away. Now, the nice thing is about this ball, at least with like full wedge shots, because I did have a lot of like 97 to like 102 type shots into the par 4s. I didn't really have anything crazy spin back, other than 9. 9 had a big spin back, but that green is really slow from back to front. That one, I had probably 20 feet of backspin on there, but that is kind of expected there. That hole just has a ton of slope. But every other green that was kind of flat, everything was kind of checked up. I didn't get the big, one-hop, rip-it-back spinners with this ball for me. I tend to get a little more of that kind of spin back, depending on the green with, TP5 or Pro V1. I tend to get a little more of that. This was more hit, stop, or maybe pull back just maybe a foot or 6 inches, depending on what the green situation was. But it didn't rip back near as hard as some other balls, which honestly I kind of don't mind, because I tend to put myself in some bad situations where I don't necessarily fly it beyond the hole to take advantage of that shot. I usually hit my shot and it's either pin high or just below, and then it spins back and I'm worse off. So with this ball, I think I hit some wedge shots that I think with this ball I was actually closer to the hole than I would have been with, like I said, say TP5 or Pro V1, where I probably would have, landed just a little bit short. It probably would have spun back even further, and I probably would have had a little bit longer putt. But the full wedge shots from 100 yards, just over all that, really just for me had kind of that drop, one hop, little pullback, and that was it. So they pretty much stayed right where you hit them. Wherever you landed it, you were within, a foot 2 of that, because, it just didn't rip back like some other balls did. Like I said, 9, I hit it, beyond the pin, which I just caught it a little more flush than I think I expected to. And it came back, it probably came back half, though. I mean, it probably came back 10 feet down the hill. I kind of hit it to the back, kind of the back third, and the pin was kind of front, for a mid pin, it was pretty forward for a mid pin. I hit and came back. I still had like a 25 or 20 foot putt down the hill. But again, distance control was really good, because it didn't, but it didn't also, there was nothing that hopped forward. It didn't land and jump forward and roll out. Unless you were hitting it out of the rough, then you would get some, a little more release out of it. But again, it was still, pretty much controlled, and there was a pretty minimal amount of release as well. So I thankfully hit a decent amount of fairways the 2 times I was playing it. But out of the rough, again, full shots out of the rough, hitting into the greens. You're going to hit, you're going to get that depending on the club, you're going to get X amount of feet of roll. But again, it's nothing that you kind of don't either plan for or you don't expect with those shots. I mean, unless there's some crazy slope on the green that you're catching, but the ball has no control over that. But shots in there were really really solid, and again, out of that rough, which is being kind of long and nasty, not getting a lot of you don't get a lot of flyers out of there. You're more trying to stop the club face from just shutting down and hitting everything left. But out of there, like I said, very controlled spin. I thought it was really consistent. All the 2 times I played it, very consistent. I never had anything where I thought I hit a good shot and something went way right, way left, anything like that. Into the wind, it still has a pretty penetrating ball flight. You get a little rise out of it, with like driver, long iron, stuff like that into the wind. It'll have a little rise, but nothing crazy, no ballooning, anything like that. I haven't played it in like a hurricane type wind yet where everything balloons, but in just moderate 10 mile per hour type winds, stuff like that, 1 club winds, you get a little rise out of it when you hit it into it, but nothing crazy, and nothing crazy right or left or anything like that. It pretty much stays fairly true. Does the wind push it a little more than say like a Callaway ball or a TP5? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the wind will affect it a little more than that, but for the most part it's pretty stable. You don't have to account for a ton of movement on the wind when you play it. When I was playing it, especially like the par 3s, I mean, when the wind was blowing across, kind of hurting or helping in kind of the right, I didn't really aim that much far left. I mean, I pretty much hit the same shots I would have hit. And even though I missed my target, the wind didn't necessarily, push it too much. Like on the first par 3, it would have been great because I kind of hit it left. The wind was blowing kind of like down and to the right. And had the ball got affected more, I would have been on the green or at least on the fringe and be able to putt. But it didn't quite push it enough. But no, pretty stable in the wind. Even into the wind, you still get a good amount of distance out of it. It doesn't, come up too hard. The wind doesn't kill it too much. Like I said, it doesn't get under it and get it up in the air too high. So you still get some power and you still get some distance out of it through the wind. And yeah, like I said, off the tee was, like I said, a slightly lower launching than I thought it would have been. And then also, same thing there. I would call it kind of a mid-launch and, pretty straight ball flight. I mean, it didn't really want to go right or left. I mean, unless you're hitting those shots and putting that draw or fade spin on it. I mean, balls pretty much went pretty straight. But overall, it was really a solid ball. I mean, it's like I said, I wasn't able to go through the whole box yet in terms of people are always like, oh, how consistent is it from ball to ball? I was fortunate enough to basically use one ball one day and one ball the other, and that was it. And after 9 holes with one of them, you were starting to show some marks, a little bit of wear depending on where you're hitting it. I wasn't really hitting into the trees or anything like that, so I didn't have any big scuffs. I didn't hit any cart paths, so no big scuffs, anything like that. I did hit a lot of, like I said, like kind of full 100-yard wedge shots, and there were a couple little lines in there that you can tell from like grooves or whatever that were just kind of marks. They weren't gouges or anything like that, but they were just little marks in there that you can tell you'd hit some shots that really compressed it. And there was a little bit of discoloration on it by the end of 9 holes, and like I said, I used it for the whole 9 holes, so all 40 shots and then all 35 shots, and so each one there, being done, I would have kept playing the ball. I would have kept playing it. Had I gone on to 10 and kept moving, it wasn't scuffed or beat up to the point where I would have stopped using it. So, like I said, distance-wise, I think it's really good. If you're looking for the craziest, spinningest ball in terms of hitting wedges and ripping balls back, maybe this one isn't necessarily Bridgestone Tour B XS type spin level there. But if you're looking for a consistent ball that you can get at a good price, that plays really well and gives you predictable short game spin all the way around. And again, distance wise, it was exactly what I expected it to be. I never hit a shot that I just said, holy crap, that went 10 miles longer than I thought, whether off the tee, whether with an iron, whether with hybrid or whatever. Everything was pretty much right in line. And in the same token, I never hit anything that I said, wow, I really got a hold of that. It didn't get there. I've had some of that. I played a DTC ball probably about 4 years ago that I got, and I had a round where I thought I hit it so good, and I would come up to balls and there would be not anywhere near I thought they were where they should be, and there was a lot of ballooning and things like that. And this ball had none of that. So the Mint ball, the Wizard Pro, I was really impressed with it. It's a good ball. I think, like I said, at their kind of breakdown in terms of quantities, if you can get it down to, $31 a dozen for these, I think it's a good deal. And if you can buy them basically kind of all at once and kind of get your ball stash set for the year. I don't think there's anything bad or wrong with that. But the Wizard Pro from Mint was really good. Like I said, I do have a sleeve of the other two balls. So I've got of the Ambition Tour and the Talent Soft. I haven't played either one of those yet, just because I was really I really wanted to know more about this ball. So I haven't played either one of those yet. I will get them out there and play with them and see. And then kind of let you know how those play. But the Wizard Pro is pretty solid. And if you go to myntgolf.com, and it's again MYNT, and check out their lineup of balls, and then they got, like I said, a bunch of other stuff. They sent me some of the tees and stuff, which is pretty cool. It's like a pack that's got 2 different sizes and all that. I haven't busted it open yet, but it's 2 different sizes of tees and stuff like that is pretty cool. And then they sent me a hat as well and all that. So it's appreciate those guys sending me some cool stuff, and it was really kind of cool to hit the ball. So they reached out to me on Instagram, and I was more than happy to take them out and give them a shot. And like I said, the Wizard Pro is really solid. So take a look. Like I said, tour ball for $31 a dozen. If you buy, was it 5, and then they give you one for free, is a pretty darn good deal. So myntgolf.com, MYNT, and see what they've got, and check out some more details about the other balls they've got as well. But was happy with the Wizard Pro. So there we go with that. And the next thing I'm going to get into, which is a weird thing. Somebody hit me up on Instagram today or yesterday when I was doing my Q&A. It was like, hey, when are we getting the pushcart review? And I was like, you know what? The other day I was trying to figure out, like, I got a Big Max Blade IP, and I remember I did some stuff for social in terms of, like, I did like the whole unboxing it, unfolding it, all that jazz, and put it up on IG, and I think it went up on the main Golf WRX account. I think it went up on my Club Junkie one as well. Excuse me, at Club Junkie Pod, but the shameless plug, But I guess I went back through all my podcast, and I guess I didn't do the podcast on it yet, and I was kind of shocked because I could almost remember talking about it, and I guess I didn't. So Big Max. If you're into walking and you're into pushcarts, which I am, I don't like carrying my own bag, and you guys know I've gone the kind of the route of electric for the past year, but the standard pushcart, I had one, I loved it, I used it for years. And it was just a kind of cheap tour trek, which was, I think, before I think it was still Golf Smith before they went to Golf Galaxy, which I think they still have the tour trek line in there. But I basically, bought that. I was in a little master's pool, some guys at a previous job, and I won like $150 or something like that. Went in there and bought my tour trek pushcart. And I think it was right around $150, $160. And it wasn't anything fancy. It wasn't the most sturdy thing in the world, but it worked. It was great. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back on that one was, I think, when I was using my big, huge Club Junkie staff bag that I was using on there, which weighs a ton. And you put rain suits in there and all that stuff. And I think that's what finally broke it. But it was actually only 2 bolts, and I ended up giving it to a guy in my league who walks all the time. And he basically went out, got 2 new nuts and bolts, and put it back together, and it works perfect. So he's rocking into my league right now. So still got still being used out there. But I went electric, and then talking to the guys at Big Max, who if you're not familiar with Big Max is huge over in Europe in terms of pushcarts, with like the number 1 pushcart company, I guess, like in the world technically, because Europe does so many, but they're the number 1 over in Europe, and they make a handful of different pushcarts. They probably make what do they make? Like, I think they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have 7 different carts that they make. So something kind of for everybody in terms of, if you're looking for something with, more storage room, if you're looking for something that's, the smallest folding, I mean, whatever, they've got something for basically everybody. If you've got a smaller trunk space in your car or whatever, they've got something for here. And really, this is the Blade IP, which is kind of their flagship model. And it is tiny. I mean, when you when you when you put it in your when you get the box is shocking, because if you put your hand up and just spread your fingers out, the box is narrower than your hand. And I'm going to assume it's narrower than everybody's hand because I don't have big hands. I wear like a medium large glove, and my thumb and pinky, when you put it up there, are probably a good half-inch to inch on each side wider than the box that it came in. So the Blade IP, when it's folded up, is absolutely tiny. So I don't care if you drive a huge pickup, you drive a small compact car, you drive a convertible, this thing is going to fit. If it doesn't fit in your trunk, or I guess as the Europeans call it, the boot, I don't know where it would fit. Then you just don't. I mean, I don't know where you put your golf bags in a car if you can't fit this this push cart. But the Blade IP, and like I said, it's their top of the line one. And I'm just gonna, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can kind of see how crazy thin this thing is. But here it is, and I'm holding it up on YouTube, and it is literally folded down like a pancake. There's nothing to it. I mean, it's probably 2.5 feet tall when you set it down, but I can't believe it's more than like 8 inches thick when it's folded down. It's really lightweight, but it folds down absolutely flat. I mean, you could shove it, under a seat. You could put it just about anywhere. Easy to hold with one hand, and it folds up and folds down super, super fast. It's basically popping the thing out, and you basically, there's one little lever that you lock everything in place with. Set that back down. And there's one little lever that you basically lock in place, but it folds down almost instantly. I mean, it's like, but you get out of your trunk, you unfold it, and you put your, but it's unfolded, it takes 15 seconds to unfold it. Put your bag on, put the 2 straps on, and you're gone. I mean, it's like, if it takes a minute to get everything unfolded, attached on, and go, I mean, that's probably a long time. It's super fast. It folds up so flat. Like I drive a Ram, I drive a pickup, and the back of my truck, you can just throw it in there. It was, just like nothing. It was so weird to put it in there when I'm used to kind of lugging the heavy electric Moto Caddy one up there and putting it in. This thing was like I could carry my golf bag and this with no problem at the same time, just walking out to my truck and throwing both in the back, and it was nothing. But again, if you have a car, truck, whatever, it'll fit in there. It folds up so flat. But the other thing about it is, like I said, I had the tour truck one. It worked great, but it was kind of it was kind of rickety. It had some flex to it. This thing is, once it's unfolded, for being as tiny and as lightweight and whatever, as soon as you unfold it, and it is absolutely like rock solid. And then when you get your bag on it, a little bit of weight just makes it even more solid. It doesn't have any flex to it. The metal on it, it's basically all metal. I mean, the pads and stuff like that where your bag touch are plastic, and all that. And some of the cup holder and all that stuff's plastic, but the main frame of it is all metal. Super solid, super sturdy, and it doesn't creak, it doesn't flex. Like mine made noise. Mine, especially if you're running over some choppy stuff, it would kind of creak and rattle. This has none of that. It has no creaks, no rattle. When you push it, the wheels just roll. I was pushing it just as kind of jokingly, pushing it with like 1 or 2 fingers down the fairway. And granted, I'm not using the staff bag right now anymore. I'm using just a regular stand bag, so it is definitely lighter. But even so, it was absolutely nothing to carry, to push it. It takes 0 effort, and again, it was just really solid. Thing never moved. Just walking on the fairway, I was really shocked at how solid it was for being as small, compact, and lightweight as it is. The other nice thing too is so it's got the elastic straps that you just wrap around that are fully adjustable. So if you play a really tiny bag, like I have the Vessel, the VLX, which is a really kind of not Sunday bag, but it's pretty small like that. And that one there, easy to kind of just adjust. You adjust the straps, lock them in. If you have to adjust the straps, if you're putting a smaller bag on, that will probably take you twice as long, and that doesn't take very long. But if it would take you twice as long as unfolding it, putting your bag on, and walking away. It's super fast that way. And if you're one of those people who just wants to, jump out of your trunk, run to the first tee and play, and you're that early bird and want to get the first tee time off, and you're just there and gone. This thing is going to be ultra quick. But once your bag's on there, it locks in really stable. It really does. I've been again using the the Fairway Plus from Callaway, which is a bag specifically built for pushcarts. I've been using that pretty much all year. Slap it on this cart, fits no problem. I just slightly had to adjust the top strap a little bit to make it smaller, just a hair smaller just to fit, but it was no problem. Adjusted that. The bottom one actually worked right out of the gate the way it was. I could tighten it up maybe a little bit just to make it a little more snug, but it was fine. But once locked in there, it's locked in. It stays there, and the bag doesn't move. It just, like I said, the first time I put it on, I didn't adjust the strap. It was a little loose on top, and it maybe rotated a few degrees, by the time I was done playing 9 holes. So the next time I went out with it, I tightened that up, and it was totally fine. So once you get the straps dialed in and you get them set to the size of your bag, the bag's not going to move. It stays right there, and again, it goes effortlessly down the fairway. I don't know if it's the larger wheels compared to mine or what it was, but like I said, I was pushing it with like 1-2 fingers just walking down the fairway, which is pretty cool. It's got dual brakes on it, so right and left wheel are independent brakes. So when you want to brake, if you're just on a pretty flat section, you can hit 1 brake. If you are on a hill, you can kind of hit 2. They're really kind of effortless as well. Some of them I know you have to kind of pull up with your foot or step on them twice, and you got to use some force. These, they just pretty much, when you touch them, you flip them down, flip them up. They take very little effort. They lock the wheels in. And if it's something where you're on a hill or on an uneven surface, I was still only really locking 1. There's 1 hole, I think, done at St. Clair Shores at 12, where you're kind of near a creek, and when you're up near the green, everything slopes down to the creek. And I've seen, in years of playing there, I've seen 2 bags go into that river. So that's the only place I locked down both brakes just to make sure. But outside of that, I pretty much use 1 brake, and it stayed right in place. Whether it was kind of a side hill lie, whatever. On uneven terrain, really stable. There was only 1 spot where, again, I should have been on the cart path. I shouldn't have been walking on the side, but 1 tee box that I was walking on, and I don't know if it was, I'm trying to remember, but either way, it's pretty slanted, and I kind of could have felt that I was getting pretty close to the end of where this thing would tip over. It was too much stiffer or too much steeper, but again, it was one of those. I was 5 feet away from the cart path. I should have been walking on the cart path, but I wanted to mess around with it and see. So I went up on this hill, and the wheels are pretty darn wide, and they're pretty stable and everything. But in places that you probably shouldn't be walking anyway. There, like I said, you're pretty much everywhere else on the course. I had no problem, with the thing staying upright. Haven't dumped it and didn't knock it over or anything like that. Stayed upright through anything, but even on pretty much most slopes, even if you push it up next to the greens and stuff like that, for the most part, you're going to be fine. Unless it's a crazy steep and you're walking side hill along it, but if you're just going up and down and stuff like that, it's perfectly stable and it stays right where it should. And then also, it's got some cool accessories. So they sent me the one thing which I always wish I never had on my old cart was I always wanted kind of like a bag or something on the bottom that you could throw rain suit in, or just some stuff, And they sent there's actually a mesh bag that attaches basically to the bottom part of the frame, and then it attaches up the vertical legs, and it's kind of a triangle, and it's a pretty big netted bag, and you can throw whatever you want in there, whether it's rain gear or whatever. I don't know if it would take if you're throwing a ton of cans of cola or other beverages in there. It is mesh. I don't know how well it would hold all that stuff. But if you're just throwing like I said, extra sweater, whatever, just some stuff in there, it's really quick and convenient. And the nice thing is too, you don't have to take the bag off when you fold it down. So the bag, when I held it up here on if you're watching on YouTube and I held it up here, that still has the mesh bag attached. So when you fold it down, it doesn't get in the way. You don't have to take it off. You don't have to take it off, fold it up, put it away. It's just there. And when you unfold it, it's right there. And you can just unfold it, fold it, and it's good to go. But being able to kind of throw some extra stuff in there, because I am a pack rat when it comes to going on the course. I'm always going to have a rain jacket. I'm always going to have, whatever. I'm always going to have stuff with me that I don't necessarily need, but I feel like, hey, maybe I will need. So that stuff, it's great to be able to toss that stuff down there. And it's an accessory from Big Macs that... and I think they're giving away an accessory bundle if you buy an IP right now. I don't know exactly what they're giving away in that bundle, but that mesh bag is awesome. And it just, like I said, it matches up perfectly to the frame. It took me a few minutes to get it on, just because I should have read the directions and I didn't. I just literally just went into it. So it took me like 2 minutes to get it on, but once it was on, like I said, you don't have to take it off. It's already folded in there. And then also an umbrella holder, which they have a cool quick release system up on the handle. You'll have kind of a flat section with a little clip that you can put your scorecard, all that. Hit a button, it pops open. Storage bin in there. And then that locks close. And I don't know if it's necessarily waterproof, but I think it's water resistant enough that whatever you put in there should be pretty safe. And then it's got 2 open spots on it that have little plugs that say kind of Big Macs. And if you press a button, you push a button on the very top of the kind of the organizer, those things pop out. And they've got like kind of like a groove type pattern around them, and they're basically a quick release for accessories. So the umbrella holder would actually lock in there. So you could basically take your umbrella, you press the button down, slide the umbrella holder in there, let it go, and it locks in place. And then you can adjust it however you need for your umbrella. And it's a pretty unique thing. And that one there, you just pop it off when you're done, and it takes 2 seconds. You just press a button, pop it off, and it's done. So there's 2 of those there, and they make stuff like phone mounts and umbrella mounts. They make a bunch of accessories that use that same system. And it's pretty cool that those things just kind of pop in and out there. And like I said, they make, all sorts of things, phone holders, whatever. I mean, they make, just all sorts of stuff that fits in there, which is pretty cool. And, like I said, it makes it kind of nice that if you need some of it, great. If you don't, hey, you don't need to use it, and you can have less things, on your cart. But, like I said, that the bag, they call it the super net on the bottom, is definitely, I think, a must-have if you're a pack rat like me. The umbrella holder is really cool, and it's really nice if it does start to drizzle. I didn't play with it in the rain yet, but it's, I did put my umbrella in there just to mess with it, and it holds it just totally, just fine. And I've got a, big 60-inch or whatever it is umbrella, and it fits in there great. Seemed to be pretty solid. I wouldn't have any worries about, unless it's a crazy wind of anything happening to that. So, but you get 2 spots there, and so you could have like a phone mount or like a golf GPS mount or something like that on one side, and then your umbrella on the other. In the dead center, there's a big old cup holder that'll fit a pretty big water bottle. I've got like a steel, Golf WRX water bottle that I toss in there, and it fit with no problem. So that was, that part of it's really easy, and just really convenient there. The little opening in the top organizer when you pop it open, it is just a little too small for like an iPhone 11 Max or whatever. I don't know. I think I've got the bigger iPhone 11. I know I haven't upgraded. I'm not a 13 guy or whatever, but it's a little too small for that. I tried to fit it in there. It doesn't quite fit. If you have something smaller, you could probably slip your phone in there, no problem, be out of the way. My phone, it doesn't quite fit in there, which isn't a huge deal. I pretty much put it in a pocket in my bag anyway and kind of forget it while I play. But a lot of stuff up there, easy to hold, golf balls, tees, all that stuff is there. They even give you a little Big Max ball marker with a magnetic attachment, so you can put a ball marker right there. And grab it on your way to the green, things like that. So I mean, just a ton of kind of features and accessories on the top end that really are useful. And like I said, the water bottle thing is great. And then I think they even make, a secondary water bottle holder that you can get, or a cup holder, beverage holder that you can attach to the side as well. So if you want to carry even more, beverages on there, you can. But the big thing is, it's super easy to fold up, super easy to open up. Like I said, you can be basically from your trunk, bag on within probably a minute, 2 at the absolute most if you're moving slow talking to a buddy. But it's a great cart to push. It's really well built. I don't see why this thing wouldn't last you years and years and years in terms of use. It's just it's really built solid. And I know when you go online, if you go to I think it's us.bigmaxgolf.com. If you just Google Big Max, BIGMAX Golf, it's not a cheap cart by any means. It's $399. They're right now giving you like a $90 accessory bundle to go with it if you buy one. I know it's not cheap, but I tell you what, it is way nicer than my cheap $170 one that I bought, with some other money and all that. This thing is definitely going to last longer. There's just, way more solid. It's way easier to put. Everything about it is nicer than what I had. And now pushing something nicer like that, I wish I would have spent more money back then, and then I probably would still be using it. I wouldn't be. I don't know if I'd go the electric route then, but no, the Big Mac's IP blade is really nice. Or the blade IP, super nice. Like I said, really solid, and just a really good cart. If you're somebody who walks a lot or likes walking, and you're either thinking about going the pushcart route or want to upgrade, or this thing is definitely worth looking at, because they definitely have built a really nice cart. It's really high quality, so I got to believe that this thing, like I said, should last for a long time. So check it out online. They make a bunch of different colors. This is the black with the red wheels. Then they make an all black. They make like a white and lime green. They make a couple different colors of it, which is kind of cool, so you can kind of match or contrast. And then they also make a bunch of golf bags that kind of fit with them as well. I think they make some stuff that's waterproof and all that. But yeah, the Big Mac's blade IP, really cool cart, really nice. I was much more impressed than I thought I was going to be. I thought after using the electric stuff and all that, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. No, I was still pretty impressed with how good that cart is. So go online, like I said, check it out. Just like I said, Google Big Mac's Golf, or it's us.bigmacsgolf.com, and check out their line. Like I said, they've got a handful of carts for different things, and then all the accessories. So really great carts. Like I said, I was genuinely impressed. So I think that's all I've got today. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of the week. Have a good weekend. Get out, play some golf. Hit some stuff up. Try some different clubs or whatever. But have a good week. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys next week. It'll be the Rocket Mortgage, and I'm going to be busy. So my show may be a little short. Well, it's not going to be shorter because I got stuff to talk about. But it's going to be rushed because I'm going to have a busy week. But that'll be fun. It'll be good. I always love having a tour event in Detroit. I love being able to go to a local event, so that stuff's always really exciting. So, but anyway, have a good week. Have a good weekend. We'll talk next week.